that we choose between our care for the elderly poor and our faith.
I don't believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute.
Really?
Here now is Stossel. So, your take is that religion is not under attack? What is this?
Well, in a few places, that nun has something to complain about. But your war on Christianity, you're just a 10-foot-tall crybaby.
I'm crying.
It's not so bad. I mean, no, Christians aren't being killed.
No, not yet.
Well, and not in America, and they're not going to be.
They're verbally being killed.
80. So what? 80.
Well, wait a minute, Stossel. Come on now. You shouldn't be diminished because you believe a certain way. Aren't you outraged by that?
No, I mean,
You're
what's diminished? I mean, 83% of the country says they are Christians.
Yeah.
You are the majority. You've won.
Well, it's not a matter of winning. It's a matter of respect.
It's a battle with a demon. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Get out there on Christian Mingle, create a profile, and start trolling.
No, I hope nobody has your back on this one. You sick bastard. We're practically NPR.
And welcome to Atheist Airwaves, episode number 8.
What's that?
Bitch. That's...
Drop a beat.
Oh, dear.
This is still sounding weird, but oh well. We'll try that again. Buckle up, people. Be cool here. Welcome to Atheist Airwaves, episode number 83. I'm Christian Ferris.
I'm Amanda Stevens.
I'm Reb Spence.
And I'm Jeff Grime.
You need to be on the mic when you say that. We record live every Tuesday at 7:30 Central, so if you're listening via podcast, we encourage you to join us in the Ustream.com chat room if the damn thing is working. Our intro audio this week is...
I love how John Stossel has to pause. He's oh well, they're not killing Christians. He's not yet, and he has to pause because it's such a dumb argument. It's okay. Let's just start over. That was a dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to address that part.
He's I don't know how you can be this stupid. I'm just going to skip right past it and try to move on. And Bill O'Reilly is yeah, we're being killed verbally.
I know, it's Muad'Dib has learned that his name is a killing word, and now Bill O'Reilly is freaked out by the Fremen. That is what the Christian persecution complex has come to in this country.
Wow.
Holy
For
crap.
anyone who hasn't read Dune, I apologize. You understood none of that.
I haven't read Dune.
Benny Gesserit witch.
I feel so left out in this conversation.
Good.
My nerds are with me right now. I do want to be clear that I think that there is some language that can be problematic. That it's not without precedent that language can be a problem for a group of people. If you're inciting violence against people, then yeah, I think you have a right to be disturbed. I think you have a right to speak out and try and change that thing. But I don't see that that's what's happening, and we definitely aren't seeing violence against Christians in this country.
Yeah, there's nobody busting into Christian churches and shooting up the place. There's nobody setting Christian churches on fire.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, Go
ahead and be fair.
It's not really mean. It's not being fair at all. Okay. His argument is full of shit, and this is why. Because what he was complaining about killing them verbally is calling them bigots.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
basically.
If you're going to discriminate against homosexuals, then you're a bigot.
Yeah. Was it Scott Walker this week who said, I don't approve of gay marriage, so I don't attend the ceremony. I just skip right to the reception. And I was just really? Yeah, it was he had a relative who was getting gay married, and he wouldn't go to the wedding because that was a sin. But the reception, that's just booze and dancing.
Well, there's an open bar.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of this story, is that Scott Walker is a lush, and he goes for the open bar.
Pretty much.
And I would kick his ass right out.
Ain't no party like a gay party. Let's just...
Just being honest.
Yeah.
The other thing that he ends up saying is that it's about respect. And he feels that Christians aren't being respected. And I can kind of go along with that.
I don't know. I find that kind of offensive, sort of. I mean, because I guess he's kind of assuming religion's a protected class. So you should respect me as a Christian. It's like, I don't know, if you switch religion with race and you're like, oh well, I'm white, so you have to respect me, and I find that to be problematic.
But it's not just about the bigotry, because it's also about Christians pushing their religion in the public square. It's about Christians pushing their religion in our public schools.
And it's okay for them to show disrespect to homosexuals and not let them marry.
Or people who like science.
Or anything else.
Yeah. So that's exactly why this rings false to me, is that, well, first of all, they're not respecting me. So what? That does not hurt you. And also, many of your positions are not respectable. So if you want to be respected, maybe have some respectable positions. The other thing, though, that really struck me is that there was a related story. It was in the show lineup for last week, but we didn't get to it. But it fits perfectly with this. Same freaking channel. Bill O'Reilly is claiming that Christians are being verbally killed and not respected in this country. Meanwhile, his network is running garbage like this. I'm going to pause this clip periodically so we can talk about it as we go. So this is a segment from Fox News about a week and a half ago.
An historic and controversial move coming out of Madison, Wisconsin, an historic and controversial city. That city is now the first in the country to pass legislation listing atheism as an officially protected class.
So how will that impact discrimination lawsuits, and could other cities follow suit? We're joined now by former Department of Justice official J. Christian Adams. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Morning, Anna.
So where does this hostility come from in the first place toward Christians?
Well, this ordinance was driven by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. It's a group of angry atheists.
Oh, wait, though, wait. They say, like, atheists are now a protected religious class, and she immediately jumps to, where's this hostility towards Christians coming from? Wait, what? Literally, no one said anything about Christians. You're not in this box. Get out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, all of the hostility towards white people when race became a protected class.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't walk down the street as a white person.
Yeah, well, I mean, black is the anti-white, so I mean, atheists would be the anti-Christians. So,
all the hostility directed towards the people in power. It's horrible.
Right. It reminds me of a meeting with the local humanists we had years ago when we were forming the South Texas Coalition of Reason. One of the non-secular humanists said she didn't like the word atheist because doesn't atheist mean you're against God? And one of the secular humanists chimed in and said, atheist doesn't mean against God any more than asymmetry means you're against symmetry. That was just amazing.
Yeah.
One of the other things that struck me about just this opening sentence is that it seems to me that like angry atheists is becoming the offensive stereotype that they launch at atheists. And I was thinking about Ben Affleck talking on Bill Maher's show about, this sounds like you're saying shifty Jews, and I was like, oh, angry atheists, this is like the shifty Jew.
or the angry black woman. And
yeah. It's becoming our stereotype.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
And I'm so angry about it.
It's okay though. As a woman, I'm not included in that stereotype. There are no women atheists.
You're crazy.
Obviously.
Okay. All right, let's move on.
They have a very a large and powerful group of supporters, and they hector governments to pass anti-Christian, anti-religious ordinances. They team up with government. For example, they were behind the IRS, getting the IRS to target and monitor sermons and homilies by Christian pastors just within the last year. So this is a group that's filled with hostility toward people of faith.
Right, so it's never just about tolerating their views, it's about attacking other people's views.
Oh, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do when you become a protected class.
And you start trying to make people follow the law.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How dare
and
you?
That's exactly right. It's not about any of that crap. It's about the Constitution. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
When you have to threaten lawsuits in order to protect your constitutional rights, it's horrible. Yeah. You're targeting Christians.
It drives me crazy because these right-wing religious Christians They love the Constitution when they're talking about their guns, when they're talking about their assault rifles, and and not even being anti-gun here, but just being, hey, maybe not everyone needs to have a bazooka.
How dare you?
Right?
Jesus would want me to have this bazooka, so fuck you.
Exactly. But I mean, it's like these people cherry pick the Constitution in the exact same way that they cherry pick their Bible. I mean, it's just, I like this part, but this part, I'm just gonna skip over that part. The part about shellfish and going to the Red Lobster, no, I'm not really into that. But I'm really into hating gay people. So that's the one that I'm going to listen to. I just freaking hate that.
Madison City Council member Anita Weir was one of the voices behind this, and here's her explanation. She said, "This is important because I believe it's only fair that if we protect religion in all its varieties, we should also protect non-religion from discrimination. It's only fair." That does, in some sense, seem fair, but that's not exactly their aim, is it?
No, it never works out that way. Not only does it bring lawsuits, but don't forget, this is a local ordinance, Tucker, and that means that a whole body of bureaucrats will spring up that will be tasked with hectoring people of faith, badgering, in Wisconsin, people of faith who might not want to hire somebody. There's a lot of reasons why Christians or Jews might not want to hire an atheist.
But not Muslims.
Does he mean to say heckling? Or
No, hectoring is a word.
I've never heard that word.
Yeah. Harassing.
Yeah. Haranguing.
Clearly that word hectoring appeared in their talking points when they were, this is what we want to say.
Hectoring people.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy just said on national television that so let me back up. This law is useless because it's atheists are already a protected class nationally because we fall under a religion. Atheism is our religious beliefs in that we have none.
Our views on religion are protected.
Right. So you cannot fire an atheist for being an atheist. If you do, you are going to be sued successfully. This guy just went on national television and said, Christians and Jews, we have to discriminate against atheists. Dude, you just admitted to committing a crime in this country, basically.
But sometimes it makes sense not to hire an atheist.
Right. Oh, yes.
I mean, if you have a daycare, you don't want them eating all the babies. That's just logic.
Well, that's smart.
I mean, if you're hiring like a priest position, I could understand like, we would just want a Christian priest here, not a Muslim priest or some sort of atheist priest.
Sure.
But if you're just a regular for-profit business, I mean, you have no reason to discriminate based on religious views.
Absolutely. But there are already exceptions for churches and mosques and temples. They can, going back to Ken Ham's answers in Genesis, that is a religious organization. They can discriminate against non-fundamentalist Christians, Muslims, Jews, atheists, everyone. But when you have a public business like the Ark Encounter, then you can't. So absolutely, the only person that can go out there and discriminate against atheists legally is religious organizations. And I'm sure that's what he's going to come up with next year.
In fact, it's in the New Testament. It says things such as avoid them, disassociate with them in Romans, Thessalonians, Corinthians. You might have a job, for example, where you want someone who believes in a higher power. For example, maybe you're running an airline and hiring pilots who you prefer they maybe believe in hell. I mean, I know that sounds
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think
you want a pilot who is not going to crash into a mountain because he thinks he's going to go to hell if he does.
Or, I don't know, buildings. A bunch of people who are believe in an Abrahamic religion that accepts the concept of hell. In fact, Muslim hell is much worse than Christian hell. And those were the pilots of 9/11, dude.
That worked out very well.
Yes.
But they weren't hired by the airline.
That's right.
Unless you're a conspiracy theorist.
But the guy who crashed into the mountain was.
Oh, yeah. But he was just suicidal, though. He didn't do that for religious purposes.
He was saying God's shit on his way down. I don't know. I mean, yes, it does not appear to be a terrorist attack. But
well, I mean, crashed on that mountain.
But he's a guy who believes in hell, who killed a whole bunch of people. Name me one atheist who has crashed an airplane.
Well, they don't hire any atheists to fly planes, so it never happened.
They're discriminating against the fucking atheists, so,
That's
you know.
right.
It's like
Extreme, but that shows you why religion is so important to so many people. And to tell people you can't hire people of faith or only people of faith intrudes on their free exercise of faith.
Well, the Freedom from Religion Foundation is trying to make this a trend across the country. They're encouraging other cities to pass similar legislation. They say this: we encourage free thought activists, including the increasing number of local public officials who are atheists or agnostics, to work to introduce and replicate this protection at their city, county, or even state levels. You think that's going to happen?
Yes, I do, because these people are so committed to their own version of theology. They have such hatred of Christians and Jews.
okay, there's like a whole bunch of stuff right there.
In that we don't want to be fired for no reason.
Like how she calls it a trend, as if it's not like a federal mandate.
Right, right. Well, okay, first of all, what theology do we have? Exactly.
Crickets.
And then and then does anyone here hate Christians or Jews, just like in general?
No, I don't hate people that are Christians or
Yeah,
Jews.
I can think of a few in particular that I hate.
I'm dissatisfied with the idea of Christianity.
An equal opportunity hater, though.
That's right.
Jeff78 in the chat room notes that we're supposed to be protected, and I guess he lives in Mississippi because he says that's not the case there. And that's what you get for living in Mississippi, which I can relate to because I live in Texas. But all right, let's wrap this thing up.
And publicly exercising their faith. This is a story as old as time. This weekend, guys, is a story of escaping and overcoming this kind of hatred. Christians and Jews have been putting up with this for thousands of years.
Are you freaking kidding me? Christians are going to play the persecution complex right through the middle of the Spanish Inquisition. Like, oh, we've been putting up with you atheists forever. And, you know, we had to stop setting you on fire for things.
I heard the Jews really enjoyed the Spanish Inquisition, too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And World War II. It was a, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barrel of laughs.
This guy's verbally killing me. He is verbally killing me right now.
Where's Bill O'Reilly when you need him?
So apparently all of that is very reasonable and respectable. You know, thanks for putting up with the smell of us burning at the stake during your little Christian
It must have been really inconvenient.
Really, yeah. I mean, property
the
values.
light kept me up all night.
And the
smelled like bacon.
The shrieking, the constant shrieking of you goddamn atheists.
It was terrible. Oh my god.
All right, so let's move on to
I also like the trend of atheism. That's pretty cool. Like, I was walking through the mall the other day and saw an atheism t-shirt at Forever 21, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna try that on.
And then I walk through a Cavender's Boot City and see a wall of God as our leading countryman person. Oh,
I was atheist before it was cool
Oh,
to be
man,
atheist.
you just stole my joke. I'm like sitting here patiently. Here comes the hipster joke. And then Jeff stomped all over it.
Hipster theist.
Right. All right. So our first story of the night. A group of Tennessee developers had a plan to build a swingers club in Madison, Tennessee, but the location they chose was right next door to Good Pasture Christian School, which is a school for grades 3 through 12, and the good Christians at Good Pasture do not want that much sinning going on in view of their school. So due to the overwhelming number of complaints that the city council received, they quickly passed a new zoning law that stopped the development from going forward until...
First of all, can I just say that I appreciate that this city in Tennessee apparently just lets sex clubs go in wherever they want to until now. I mean,
apparently no one had the nerve to open a sex club in this town because they never had the zoning laws for it. It's like, oh, it's obviously no one in our good Christian town is going to have a sex club.
Well, this is like the third one in this in Nashville. What was it, Nashville, right?
Sorry, I was like, before the show, Rev is like, the only story I did any in-depth research on was the Swingers Club story.
I mean, granted, that research was just Googling sex clubs in Nashville, but I feel like I'm an expert now.
All the rest of the articles were depressing, and this is the only one that brought any joy into my life.
Sex is good for that.
But no, this is like the third sex club that they've set up in this town. So,
wow, interesting.
The same people?
Yeah, it's the same people.
Okay.
That were, yeah.
Wow, how big is Madison, Tennessee? Someone Google it real quick. How many sex clubs does one town need?
I mean, the other ones may not have been,
The Bible Belt is always bigger in porn and sex
that
strip
is true.
clubs.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you look at the Pornhub searches and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe the city council doth protest too much.
Yeah. How dare you put a sex club? Put me on the VIP list. You know my name's on that list, bro.
All right. So the city council passed a new zoning law that said you can't have a sex club next to a Christian school. The swingers decided to make swinging their religion. Now the plans are going forward again. Only on the floor plan that they've given the city, the room that was formerly called the dungeon is now called the choir room. And what
There's
used
a lot
to
of singing going on in there.
Oh, sweet mystery of life. And what used to be called the game room is now the fellowship hall. So everyone in the town is losing their collective minds, and they say they're going to be watching to make sure that what they're doing is really religion, and not a swingers club. But how the hell can you tell the difference?
Well, it says at the very end they have to prove that worship is actually taking place.
Oh, that'll definitely be happening.
Oh yeah.
It's like here's our foot fetish room. Check this out.
That's right. This guy is definitely on his knees.
Rev is volunteering to be the one who checks it out to make sure that what's going on.
All three. All three clubs.
He's like, I owe it an honest investigation.
Although, like to address the facts of the story, though, because like I said, I did research on this stuff. Because like they only so far they've got because they went around the zoning issue and said that they were going to build a church. Right now, they only have permission to actually build and renovate the building. They don't actually have permission to operate yet. So after they build it and renovate it, then the inspections will happen, and then they'll decide if they'll let them actually open or not as a church.
How do you tell if an empty building is going to be used as a religious place of worship?
I guess it depends on how many whips and poles are around.
But I mean, this is the main point for me is.
I just had the greatest mental image of they have like a big cross on the wall, and then that gets used for things. I was like, oh my god.
I figured there'd be like a font of like KY or something that you'd go and.
I just keep thinking if you build it, they will come.
Oh man, I would just love that the holy lube at the door,
Yep.
That'd be great. But how do you tell the difference between a swingers club and a swingers club where they have religionized the activities that they do?
Well,
They've called them sacraments.
Well, didn't we have a article a couple months back where it was a swinger couple that were evangelizing through swinging, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I mean,
this is not new.
Yeah, it's already been proven that it's been done. So now they're just going to do it on a revenue-based system.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have an actual church instead of just going around and, banging people and saying, "Oh, hey, how about Jesus? Oh, yes, Jesus."
Well, because the church they're going to start there, or they're planning on trying to start, it's called the United Fellowship Church. And it's open to all religions, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, pagan, whatever. So it's a very open religion, I guess you could say. And what's their deal? It's like we're all children of the universe. That's like their byline or their mission statement, I guess.
So it's like a kiddie porn thing? What? So there are also people out there who are clamoring to get Scientology's religious tax-exempt status revoked. And, it just smacks to me of how do you let Christians be in charge of determining what is a religion and what isn't? And how do you make that judgment other than just bigotry?
Right, and that's the crux of the matter. If you're going to give somebody special status, IRS or otherwise, based on the idea of it being a religion, you just have to open that up.
Well, like the federal statutes for whether you can be a church or not is you have to have like a historical, like recent history. You have to say like, here's what we've been doing over time. You have to have like so many members in your church. You have to have like bylaws and like a priestly order of some sort.
It's the Bible Belt. So they will be able to get so many people to claim that religion so very fast if it means that they're going to get laid.
Yeah. This reminds me of when they were debating the new movie theater out there on Staples, and
how does this remind you of a movie
no,
theater?
because they were talking about it because they were going to serve alcohol at this movie theater, and the surrounding neighbors were like, how dare you bring alcohol into our neighborhood? And, we all go to this good church that's right here beside your proposed movie theater, and we are not having this. And this one guy got up and he's like, I just went to a party with a bunch of y'all that go to this church, and everybody was drinking, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That kind of brings up a good point, though, is, putting aside the religious aspect of it, is there a legitimate interest in keeping things like swingers clubs or anything like that away from grade schools and high schools? Is there a legitimate state interest in that?
Well, I mean,
I'm sure they will claim that there is, because if the kiddies know about sex, then they will have the sex.
The only way I could see it's like there were like outdoor activities, but it's all it's all inside, and
I swear to God, like recess would just be all the kids lined up on the fence.
Chain link fences. Huh?
Yes,
for sure. Although then you'd have like the Christians going with the tarps, like they did with the strip clubs when the topless protesters came out. But I was thinking about this today, and Jeff, you have kids. I was thinking, if there is a sex club next to my kid's school, I assume they're not doing anything outside. I also assume they're not doing anything during school hours, because although in Corpus Christi they might. Because you go by the strip club on SPID Cheetahs, there are people there at 8 a.m., there are people there at noon, there are people there at 4. I don't know what goes on in there, but it's all day.
I like Red's
what
face.
What do you think's going on in there?
I have never ever felt the compulsion to go to any kind of club at 10 in the morning. That's just not something that's ever occurred to me.
Well, I'm sure there's still strippers there stripping and dudes
But
giving
who
them
goes-
money. I mean,
Who goes to a club of any kind, or even a bar?
maybe someone who works night
Oh,
shifts.
I've known a lot of dudes who go to a bar at fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. Don't even play.
Maybe like work night shift and they just got off of work,
Yeah.
and they want to go see some
And if
titties.
you're going to go to a bar anyway, wouldn't you rather go to a bar with tits? I mean...
Hello? Ustreamer3344 in the chat room says that they have a good buffet. So he's just there for the buffet.
I would never eat at a strip club buffet.
Many a strip club I have gone to, but never have I gotten up the courage to eat at the buffet. It's like, now there's too many, like, I don't know, bacteria that could be just floating around in the air. I mean, people are literally throwing their bodies around, and who knows what, I can't.
That's usually the way it's transmitted.
Yeah.
Got it through the air.
But honestly, I was trying to think today, is there any kind of business that would open up next to my kid's grade school or junior high that I would say, it's not, no. Any legal business. Can anyone think of anything? I mean, like, even if they had posters of, like, women and men, like, like in silhouette
Like
or whatever.
doing it?
No, but just like sexualized posters. I would, that would be like day one. Like, son, let me tell you about this, and we'll talk about it, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can think of, or hypothetical children that?
I don't know. There was a idiot in Florida who had set up an outdoor gun range in his neighborhood, and it was perfectly legal. But it was like he was shooting into like plywood. And it was very easy to just like miss. Right. And then it goes into someone's backyard. So that I would not be cool with.
There's one.
And I think there's probably any other range of like industrial type stuff that you don't want around.
Like an asbestos factory.
That's all taken care of by zoning, and really that's in Corpus. That's what we have now. We have very restrictive zoning on sex type businesses.
Well, of course, you don't want to apply that sort of stuff to like the refineries.
There actually was one that was opened up here in Corpus that was next to like a private like pre-kindergarten. It was there on Nile, or no, it was on Rodfield, just past SPIG, and it used to be, I don't remember what it was called, but it was right by a KinderCare.
Wow. Oh yeah, it was over there by like Out of Bounds and
it's the building that is now I think it is Out of Bounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Kill Humanati in the chat room came up with two businesses that I agree would be offensive to have near your child's school. One is Hobby Lobby.
Yes.
And the other one is Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
Yes. How am I going to talk to my kids about those things?
That's right.
I think that's enough. If I have to talk to my kid and I don't know how to explain to him that assholes like that exist in this world, that should be enough. Zoning laws should include bars on Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A. Do you want to hear that Hobby Lobby's having might go out of business problems?
God, I hope so.
No, I read that the other like a week or two ago, but
couldn't happen to a nicer group of people.
Shucky darn! It's like their crusade against women's rights might have bitten them in the ass.
Oh, Ustreamer3344 says it's awesome. Drop your kids off at the daycare. Go to the strip club.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
Hello.
Brilliant.
That's business synergy right there.
That's right.
Oh yeah. In fact, you could make it like the Pizza Hut, Taco Bell things where you have like the same two businesses
Like
in one building.
A&W and the Long John Silver's. Yeah.
And you just have like the daycare, and then you just walk across the hall into the strip club.
I'm just having terrible thoughts
Well,
about Taco Bell, the strip club.
Well, why don't more strip clubs have a little daycare center? I mean, one for the patrons and one for the strippers. I think that would be conducive
right.
for
That would be
everybody and good
brilliant.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do that.
And how Reb became a mogul.
All right, so I'm going to play one clip before we get out of this story. Because one of the things that really disturbs me is the reasons that the people were giving for why they did not want a swingers club next to their Christian school. The first person who's talking is just a resident, and the second person talking is the principal of the school.
We don't want this darkness to damage the beacon of light that's been here for years and years and years.
That in many, many ways just seems absolutely to me to be irreverent, and it just seems like you have nothing you will stoop to try to accomplish what you're trying to do. It's obvious that to me all they're trying to do is find another way legally or through some loophole to try to accomplish what they want to do.
All right. So the first guy was saying that the reason he didn't want there is because it was darkness next to their beacon of light. So that has nothing to do with children.
He has never had good sex, apparently.
Or maybe he just has really bad children.
That too.
Or maybe he has a lot of really dark, grim, violent sex, and that's why he's like, ooh, yeah, don't.
If you saw what I did in my bedroom, you wouldn't let any kids near that.
That's right.
And
got 2 locks on my door.
And then,
Nobody told him how babies were made.
the principal was talking about how it was irreverent. So it's not even about impact on children, which was what my mind naturally went to. It's like, okay, there's some sort of
Somebody think about the children.
right.
Yeah.
No, it's about their religious sensibilities. And that's all it's about. That's everyone who was interviewed about this. They're all concerned about sin, being close to God. And
well, like some of their stuff, like what the one lady was saying is like, oh yeah, they're going to charge members, dudes $50 and women $20 to enter. It's like, I've never heard of any church that charges money. It's like,
Really?
What?
Like tithes? You've never heard of tithes?
Like Church Unlimited sending out tithing bills?
Yeah.
Or businesses at all that charge money.
Yeah.
Imagine.
No.
How do they think that churches exist? How do they think they afford to build them?
God.
How do they pay their mortgage?
God just does it. God's just like, hey, awesome. Good for you. I did read a story recently about how a lot of churches are closing, or at least in financial peril, because during the the economic downturn, a lot of people started going back to church, trying to
Pray their way out of being
Pretty much.
unemployed.
pretty much. And so to house all of these new members and stuff, these churches had to expand, and of course they are tax exempt, but they still have
they still have to pay the
mortgages
base
and
cost, yeah.
And so a lot of them took out some pretty dumb loans, honestly, and now they've seen their membership drop again because people are getting back on their feet, and they're in trouble.
Why do I want to keep paying 10% of my income?
My
when
prayers
I'm-
have been answered already. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Thanks, God.
See ya next time I need you.
That's right.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. So let's move on to Texas.
Yay.
Which this story, this ushers in the wave of depressing stories that Reb,
Yes.
Reb referred to. So I think this is the worst of them.
Yes, pretty much. So, religion in Texas, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? You can pretty much get away with anything. Like starving your child to death.
Yeah.
Because it's possessed by a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they don't stop crying, right?
Obviously. I mean, it was a toddler, so the terrible twos equals demonhood,
Yeah.
I presume.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky with my kids, but I know a lot of parents who probably thought their kids were possessed by demons when they were 2.
But like, is that like a physiological thing? Like, just like kids are bad at 2, or is it just because they're shitty parents? Like, what's the?
I think it has to do with like development, but I'm no expert on child.
Yeah, I'm not either, and I think it probably
You have
has
2 children.
Well, but I'm not. My results may vary. My kids were fine at 2, but I know that there are children who are not, and also, I mean, it does get harder as a parent. I mean, when you have an infant, yes, it cries, but it just sits there. You put it places, and that's where it stays. Toddlers run around and they're like ripping things off shelves, and they're feeling their new autonomy. And
They learn the word no.
Right.
They get teeth.
I have to tell you, like with Nina especially, it didn't work so much with my second child because Nina knew the word no at that point. We never used the word no with her. We just avoided using it. It was more of an experiment than anything else. It's like, what if we don't ever tell her about that word? And it worked wonderfully because she had no concept of saying no to something for a long time.
It's like, yes, you cannot eat broccoli.
All right.
Sorry.
That sidetracked us a little bit. But this is the most horrifying part of this. This church apparently told the mother who believed her child was possessed by demons.
And can I interrupt you just for a second? Because I want to make it clear. This is a Pentecostal church. This isn't some weird cult. This is a mainstream church that did all of this.
But if you ask any other Pentecostal church, they'll be like, no, that
No,
shit's
no,
cray-cray.
Yeah, it's totally nothing to do with us. But yes, they are affiliated with the Georgia-based Pentecostal denomination, the Hispanic Conference of the Congregation Holiness Church, which is just a lot of words. So, okay, the horrifying part of this is the church basically told the mother, okay, you are totally right, your kid is possessed by demons, we have to starve it out of him.
Well,
And
obviously.
she did not feed him for 25 days.
Yeah. And the average amount of time that someone starts dying or having severe problems from lack of food is about 4 days before that.
Yeah.
It seems like they would have had quicker results with drowning the devil out of the kid. That's the route I would have gone.
Just skip right to it. You skip like
Yeah.
3.5 weeks of screaming, crying, pain, and just go straight to bathtub.
Is he a witch?
Probably. Yeah.
If he floats, he's okay.
Yeah.
Is it? What is it?
No, if he floats, he's a witch.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you
If he
kill
si-
it.
Right. If he
Yeah.
sinks and he drowns, then he's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. Win-win. So then, of course, they held a rising ceremony to bring the boy back from the dead,
Right. 'cause
as
that's
you
a-
do.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So first you starve your child to death, and then you hold a ceremony to bring him back from the dead. And there is a video of the rising ceremony as all of these people crowd around this dead child and
Must have been.
That's the big thing for me, is that there are a lot of people at this church thinking they can resurrect a dead baby.
Were they all like charged like accessories to the crime?
No one's been charged. No.
What?
Because no, there have been no charges filed. They want to charge the parents, but the parents fled to Mexico before anyone turned them into the police.
But, like literally, like all those people were like not like didn't do it. And that like how wouldn't you be an
Faith is
accessory?
a crazy thing.
Like they'd be like accessory, right?
But so far, I mean, I don't know that they have like proof, because if
Well, they have a video of everyone standing around looking at it.
Yeah, but yeah, there's no body though. They took the body.
They took the body to Mexico.
No body, no crime, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
but then
there's
here's the
video of the body.
yeah. But here's the crazy thing: is that it
Oh, wait.
the video.
This is the crazy
yes.
thing?
Well, there's a lot of crazy things, but this is the thing that gets me. Like, the video shows the church secretary babbling incoherently while praying over the toddler's body, which he anoints with oils. They did not give him a priest to resurrect him.
Just
no,
the secretary?
Just the church secretary. Hey, could you notarize this for me and also maybe raise my kid from the dead?
I missed that part. Oh my god.
Thanks, Araceli.
No one liked this kid. That's what I get out of that.
It's just...
He was that bad. It's
Right.
like, your kid's a little shit. We'll get the secretary to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, they've been unable to find the parents or other congregants. Everybody went to Mexico, apparently. And of course, the right wing is freaking out because it's all the crazy illegals' religion. It's not the fault of religion. It's just the crazy...
Crazy illegals.
Yeah.
Hecky13 in the chat room wants to know how they got the body into Mexico. And I'm just thinking, they're probably not as watching immigration into Mexico as
Not as closely, probably.
as the opposite way. So you could probably take all kinds of drugs into Mexico, and that would be no problem.
Yeah.
Well, you think the dogs would like pick up on the smell, though, right? I mean,
And they would probably arrest someone else coming into the country while you drive by them going
Hey
out.
guys, we're just going back to Mexico, thanks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I just it amazes me that you can get that large a group of people together who think that this secretary resurrection thing that could work. Why do they think that no one has done that for Uncle Steve? I mean,
Uncle Steve wasn't possessed by a demon. Obviously, he just had, lung cancer.
So you think they have like a rule? There's like some canon or theology that says if you're possessed by a demon, then you can totally be raised from the dead.
well, you think if it worked, like everybody would be doing it. Like, oh shit, like we just brought this kid back from the dead. Here's a national article, and all science and journals are gonna go talk about it.
They're not gonna believe that. They're not gonna believe a science or medical journal. No,
That would be a big
they're all
fucking
talking
deal.
to each other in their church, going, "Did you hear about so and so's kid who got raised from the dead?" Honest to God, it totally happened. That's what is happening.
Sans demon.
Yeah. And he was totally fine. No more demon possession. Came right back from the dead. Went out and played.
It's kind of the same deal with like the penis enlargement pills. If there was one that really worked, everybody would know about it. Everyone would have it. Everyone would be doing it. But it just, I don't know. I can't believe that because there's just not enough, obviously, evidence to support that.
I like that we're comparing child resurrection to penis enlargement. I'd like to thank everyone for that.
You goddamn atheists. On the getting the child into Mexico, Ryan Drexler in the chat room says, envision a Weekend at Bernie's scenario. That's just terrible.
Oh my god.
But the mental image is awesome.
Oh my god.
Well, I guess it would have been pretty easy though. I mean, they could just put in a little baby seat and be like, "Oh, it's just sleeping and very, very thin."
Yeah.
Don't worry about
basically.
that. Yeah.
They don't exactly check though going into Mexico.
Yeah, I don't think they give much of a check.
Yeah.
But even if they did, like they're just like, "Oh no, it's just a baby and the sleeping toddler thing." So don't worry about it.
Although it's days old, the corpse has been dead for a while at that point, because this resurrection ceremony, they did this for like 4 or 5 hours. They were trying to raise this thing from the dead.
But it was like a month, like, oh no, it had just died. So
I'm just saying, like, okay, I can imagine if their kid died and I'm like, ooh, that sucks. And you want to do a resurrection ceremony? Well, okay, just to support the parents, I'll go to the resurrection thing, but I'm not staying there for more than 30 minutes. I'm showing up there to support the grieving parents. Oh yeah, la, la, la. Let's go to the strip club because my kids are in daycare over there. So that's about as much time as I'm spending at the resurrection ceremony.
Could you like hurry it up? I gotta get out of here. And your kid's just really not that important to me.
But it brings up a good point of how far do religious freedom laws now go?
Absolutely.
Because prior you would say that the state held a interest in, a child's life. But if they, how strongly held is
it's extremely strongly held. They're willing to let a kid die to prove it.
I mean, obviously it was strongly held. So
I don't know why anyone would be against this, because if you're against, if you're for allowing your religion to say you can deny medication to people or discriminate against people or deny children access to life-saving health care, for God's sake,
you should be totally cool with starving the demons out of children as well.
I was thinking, though, one of the problems with the whole sex club thing here is that I don't know that I want my sex club to be close to something like this.
Reb has almost spewed twice now in the last 5 minutes, so I think we can really make this happen. Yeah. So remember, kids, if you're going to have a child and they go through the terrible twos, you can just starve them to death and then resurrect them. It'll be fun.
Religious liberty, y'all.
Yeah.
Corpus Christi Atheists meets every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. This weekend we will be meeting at Executive Surf Club downtown. If you don't know where that is, visit ccatheist.com for a list of our public events. If you're interested in connecting with our affiliates, visit southtexascor.com to visit any of our sister organizations. I was about to say from Corpus Christi all the way down to Brownsville, but we have a new sister organization in Rockport, Texas, which just started up last week. So if you're listening to this in Rockport, Texas, and I think it's against the law to do that there, meetup.com/Rockport Atheists. Okay. Colmont Elementary School in Tennessee invited Christian speaker Horace Turner to their school. Horace has a troubling history of providing speeches on Christianity and the Bible to public schools in Alabama, and a parent complained to the Freedom of Religion Foundation. Rebecca Markert is a staff attorney for the FFRF who contacted the school this week, and she was being totally fair to the school. She noted that, quote, "We are aware that some Christian missionaries insinuate themselves into public schools by camouflaging their purposes and by professing to be experts in some secular field or other. And when that occurs, it is incumbent that public officials exercise due diligence in vetting these outside adults to ascertain whether they have a religious agenda.
Yes.
To ascertain whether they have a religious agenda they seek to impose on a captive audience of public school children. However, while some Christian evangelizers come as wolves dressed in sheep's clothing, this wolf comes dressed as a wolf." This guy, Horace, is on the school calendar, in print and online, as Horace Turner, the Bible Man. Bible Man. Mm-hmm. Is invited to speak to a group of young public school kids, and no one thinks that might just be a little bit of a problem. No one.
Nah.
Except for this one woman. In the past, Bible Man's activities at public schools have included leading students in Bible readings, setting up baby Jesus displays, preaching about how Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and distributing religious literature. So I can see how maybe the school board was a little confused about how maybe Bible Man was going to speak about chemistry or physics or something. I would freak. All you have to do is show me Bible Man. And how does no one at this school know that this is a problem?
Were the kids really a captive audience, though?
Yes!
Well, I know whenever I went to little, conference deals, at our school where they made us all go to the gymnasium and listen to someone talk, that was just like, cool, I get out of class. I'm just going to play my Game Boy.
Well, okay. So Jeff78 in the chat room knows that that dude needs a better superhero name, which I totally agree. Bible Man is so lame. There's no kid who's going to think that's cool. Period.
Well, he's immune to fire. Bibles never burn.
Not true.
Oh my.
Quran Man on the other.
Well, there was a series of videos of Bible Man, but it was played by that dude from Charles in Charge.
No,
yeah.
Which one?
Not Charles, obviously, but his dopey friend. Yeah.
Oh no.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a series of videos about Bible Man, and Horace is just like horning in on this guy's.
And it's like copyrighted already, then I guess.
I would imagine.
Trademark, yeah.
But how lame are you that you're ripping off not even Scott Baio, but Scott Baio's lame sidekick from his lame sitcom? Was that an 80s sitcom?
Yes. Yeah.
His lame 80s sitcom, and you're ripping off his sidekick. You are the ripoff of Scott Baio's sidekick. That's pretty lame. The school superintendent canceled the event, but he said he's hoping to have him back to speak to clubs, which legally I think is fine. I mean, if it's extracurricular activity and you have like the stupid Catholic kids organization, yeah, you can have Bible Man come to your dumb club that no one wants to go to. I mean, not even the Catholic kids want to go to that. But the appearance of the superintendent being that involved in bringing in speakers for expressly Christian purposes still kind of rubs me the wrong way.
They have to know it's wrong.
Yeah.
They just do it until somebody complains, and then they threaten the people who complain about it.
Well, it's
And
better
then
to
they
ask
say, look at
forgiveness.
how oppressed we are. They
Right.
won't even let us have Bible Man in the school anymore.
They are verbally killing Bible Man.
Okay, so I looked up the guy from Charles in Charge. It was Willie Ames.
Oh,
Was
jeez.
Charles in
Yeah,
Charge's
yeah.
like dopey friend, and he played the original Bible Man from 95 to 93.
Wait a minute.
Or no.
He went back in time. That is impressive. Maybe
Bible
there's
Man.
something to
95.
this Bible Man thing.
95 until 2003. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, it says, from 1995 until 2003, Ames portrayed Bible Man, an evangelical superhero character in a 1995 to 2010 American video series of the same name. Okay, so I guess there was Bible Man series, just he wasn't Bible Man all the time.
But he was the original Bible Man.
He was the original Bible Man. I find it amusing that he divorced during his tenure as Bible Man.
Did he lose his superpowers? Is that his kryptonite?
One
Divorce?
presumes.
That's why it came to an end.
That's right. Okay, so Charles in Charge's dopey friend, Bible Man.
So
You wouldn't believe the amount of girls that Bible Man gets.
yes, you would, but it's all anal sex. There's
Yeah.
there's definitely no missionary sex.
You've got to keep them pure for their future
It could be like
husbands.
missionary anal sex.
Oh, I see what you did there. It's like Christian missionaries. Okay. So in the meantime, of course, while this woman successfully got Bible Man kicked out, and the school district, I just want to note, said, it was part of a school assembly. And they said, oh, well, it's totally optional. It's like, what? And literally no student they talked to was aware that they could opt out of school assemblies. And it was like, now no one is going to their school assemblies for sure, because everyone knows you don't have to go.
Yeah.
I always hated our school assemblies in high school. They were the worst things ever.
I would have liked to have opted out of like the DARE, school assemblies. Those were always worthless.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one school assembly that was worth anything. It's like, okay, we had the football team. We had like, yay, football. And we had like the DARE people. And then we had like some dance. I didn't want to go. I would just like to sit in the library and read a book.
Yeah.
Nerd.
We had like the best school assembly that turned it into a terrible, terrible story. So, like my junior year, I think, or possibly sophomore year, they got everybody in the school got to go into the gym for the cheerleader tryouts.
Oh, I would go for that.
This was the thing. We all got to go, and you got to
I wouldn't be
vote.
playing my Game Boy. What? You got the votes?
That is so mean.
Yeah.
That's
It
ridiculously
was a little
mean.
bit of the mean. So yeah, we did like the cheerleader tryouts. And it was great.
Did they do it like gladiator style with the thumbs? Or?
No, it wasn't public voting. It was just like you did your little routine, and then everybody kind of went yay, and then you went back to your class and you voted. But at the end of assembly, they were like, okay, everybody go back to your classes. Well, instead there was a riot because that's what teenagers do.
Yeah, it's cheerleading riot. Happens.
There's a lot of hormones.
The Texas cheerleader riots of 1996. It was a dark time. So yeah, there was a riot, and then so the next year, nobody got to go to the cheerleader assembly. It was all broadcast on the closed caption TV in the room. It was very sad because there was a riot.
What was there? What would you riot for? I don't know.
I don't know. I think there were like gangs involved, and like they just saw it as an opportunity because everybody in the school was there, and then there was chaos.
That's really disturbing to me. Super, super disturbing to me. Does anyone know who Salty is? Psalty. Hecky in the chat room is saying that, you know, the 90s and 2000s kids had Bible Man. I had Salty. I don't know what that is. But for those of you out there who do know, you can find solidarity with Hecky in our chat room.
I desperately hope that he was like a preaching pirate. He's like, I'm salty.
I'm thinking it's more like Psalm.
Yeah,
salty.
something to do with
Yeah.
Psalms.
Yeah. But salty, come on.
I've never heard it.
Or it's like an oral sex thing. I don't know. All right.
Mythical.
So the last thing about this story is that, of course, in the meantime, after this woman came out and has admitted publicly, yes, I complained to the FFRF, she's been getting death threats from local Christians, one of whom sent her a picture of a burning house. So, you know, that's nice and totally what Jesus would have done.
He was just saying that God's love will keep her warm.
Yes, that's what he was saying.
Obviously.
There was that story this week about it was, I don't know if it was a story this week, but someone posted a tweet that someone sent about her sister-in-law dying in a fire, but the Bible on her nightstand was completely untouched.
Like I said, Bible Man would be fireproof.
Yeah, so you know, God will let you burn, but He'll save your Bible.
Yep.
So,
what a miracle. It's sad about your sister, but what a miracle. What a miracle.
All right. Next up, we have a story out of
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So you know it's going to be all kinds of reasonable and stuff. It turns out that the state of Oklahoma is getting very frustrated at their inability to exercise their basic religious freedom and distribute Bibles to all students attending public schools because they're being verbally killed by atheists. But now the Attorney General of the state is going to put an end to all of the harassment that they've suffered from the hands of the FFRF and the ACLU and others. Last Tuesday, Attorney General Scott Pruitt announced that he had a plan and it was going to, quote, be designed to defend religious freedom and provide support to Oklahoma schools facing intimidation. Intimidation meaning threats of lawsuits if they continue to break the law, I guess. He went on to say in a letter to all school superintendents in the state, quote, few things are as sacred and as fundamental to Oklahomans as the constitutional rights of free speech and the free exercise of religion. It's a challenging time in our country for those who believe in religious liberty, bigotry and all that. Our religious freedoms are under constant attack from a variety of groups who seek to undermine our constitutional rights and threaten our founding principles. Under the United States Constitution, school districts can permit private citizens to distribute to students religious literature, including Bibles. To allow private citizens to do so, the school should simply enact a neutral policy that allows equal access for all Oklahomans to engage their free exercise rights. And we all know what that means.
Say hello to Satanist coloring books.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would also like to take a moment to talk about how he's basically saying anybody come on any school campus and just give shit out. It's totally cool.
There's all these kids around, just give them things.
Yeah, totally.
Private citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring in anything.
Also, I've got this van over here. Jesus hangs out in it a lot. I think you'd like it.
Excuse me, Demi, does this smell like chloroform to you?
Yeah.
So this means garage sale for everyone. everyone's religion can pile on and join in. The Satanic Temple is definitely going to be in on that stuff.
They have to.
I mean, they've already asked.
They're all over Oklahoma.
Yeah, because a third grade teacher distributed Bibles in her class, and immediately the Satanic Temple was like, "Hey, let us in on that action."
That's two. That's two.
Wait, me. Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've been able to do a legitimate Seidelgasm, but he got after these guys. Andrew Seidel sent a response to the Attorney General, which is completely made of awesome. He wrote, quote, "It is obviously far easier for an Oklahoma student to get a Bible than literature criticizing the Bible, which FFRF will seek to pass out in every public school forum that is opened under your offer. If the goal of the Oklahoma Attorney General's office is to allow public schools to be used to distribute atheist messages, then this is a brilliant idea." Bam! Suck it. So, not just the Satanic Temple, but all kinds of, this is why your Bible sucks. This is why Jesus isn't real and it's kind of a bad idea. That's what we're going to be given to students.
It's like I have to assume this principal has read the other stories where this has happened. Like, you can't think I am so smart. I thought of this all on my own.
This is not a principal. This is the state attorney general.
Yeah. So you would think he would. I don't know. You think he'd be knowledgeable of this situation already. I would hope.
I would have agreed with that statement prior to having moved to Texas 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I am in no way shocked and surprised at how stupid state attorney generals can be. I've never lived in a state where you can have an attorney general who is just a clueless asshat.
And then get elected.
Yeah.
Governor.
Yeah. It's good times.
It's awful.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say, Andrew Seidel, FFRF prefers that public schools focus on education rather than serve as a venue for divisive religious debates. Your letter was either grossly misinformed on both the facts and the law, indeed recklessly misinformed, given that school districts might heed your advice and open themselves up to serious legal and financial liability. Or it was a transparent attempt to pander to people's religious sensibilities for political gain. No doubt you'll want to correct your misstatements to Oklahoma superintendents. We look forward to seeing that letter. Oh, I love me some Andrew Seidel.
Kristen's going to need to clean up for a minute.
I am. So we're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Exactly. I think Andrew Seidel ultimately nails it, that this guy isn't serious about that. He's just saying things that he thinks will play with the Oklahoma electorate. And he's probably right.
Or maybe it's just so strong in his faith. He feels that, even if people do hand out, non-Christian literature, that the truth of the gospel will just cut like a knife through it all and reveal the truth.
Yeah.
We're just like, all right.
Yeah, that's what it is. So in other Andrew Seidel just kicked your ass news, and speaking of March Madness, the conservative group, the Alliance Defending Freedom, thinks they are going to go head to head with my boy after Seidel sent numerous letters to public universities who have been employing basketball team chaplains. Some of them are paid, some of them are unpaid, and some are even given secular titles like character coach, which is stupid. But the FFRF's co-president Dan Barker notes that may even be worse because it kind of blurs the line between what is a secular position and what is strictly a Christian, I don't even want to say religious, a Christian position, because these are all Christians. Andrew Seidel noted in one letter, quote, "Public school athletic teams cannot appoint or employ a chaplain, seek out a spiritual leader for the team, or agree to have a volunteer team chaplain because public schools may not advance or promote religion." The Alliance Defending Freedom has now responded saying, "Nuh-uh." Okay, so their actual position, I'll just give a brief quote, is so long as a public university does not require require student athletes to participate in religious exercises provided by chaplains, and so long as those chaplains serve the various faith needs of the other students, the university does not violate the establishment clause by coercing participation in religion or preferring some religions over another.
So what happens? Well, what happens whenever like the Satanist student goes to the Christian preacher and be like, "Well, I need you to pray to Satan with me."
Yeah, he's not going to say okay, right?
Right.
Jeff, you're our lawyer. What do you think about this non-coercive thing? Like, as long as you're not making people go to this guy, can a public university?
And this is a college, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of a harder deal here.
Sure.
It is a little bit different when you're dealing with universities as opposed, and that's the point that they're making is, look, this is a university. Are they really going to want to press this issue? Probably not.
I worked for a university and have for a long time. Worked for many universities. The case law is not as robust on the university level as it is on the high school and grade school levels. So a lot of this is not just this is the way it is. It's just no one really knows because they haven't litigated this stuff. Most universities would probably prefer not to litigate. I think most of them have crumbled.
Well, and most universities have smart people there. I mean that
one would hope.
That's what it really comes down to more than anything. Not all public universities do. A lot of them. I mean, in Texas, that was kind of the cultural thing going on. It's UT was really, really under attack by the governor's office. The president there was completely under attack. They got rid of people on the board of regents, and they really struggled to try to make it a more conservative place, more in line with what A&M is.
I was going to say is with College Station for sure.
With College Station, yes, not the whole A&M system.
Well, most of the A&M system, but especially College Station. I think, and there is an argument to be made that a university is a different place than a grade school or high school because you're talking about ostensibly adults who can handle themselves more or less. That there's not the same coercive atmosphere that you'll find in a grade school. In a grade school, it's you do this or whatever. No one even questions whether you can opt out of something. But
I still think it's problematic.
I do too.
I mean, I think you're still hiring somebody specifically to be in a spiritual capacity, and doing that as the government, I think, is a problem. They got over it. I mean, I can see and not object to it so much in the context of the military because you're basically taking over people, and the fact that I think it's an accommodation that we make by having chaplains in the military that. I think it's reasonable, but
I think in the military it's reasonable as long as you're providing chaplains for everyone, so that your Satanist has someone to go to, so that your atheist has someone to go to, your humanists have someone to go to, and they're not currently allowing that to happen in the military. And I would say the same thing here, that if you're just saying, well, most of the students are Christians and this is really important, what you're communicating is that the 3 to 20% of your students aren't that important, that they don't deserve, the same kind of treatment that, the majority of your students do. So either it's that you're diminishing the value of those students, or you're saying that these other students are more important.
Why does the sports program need a chaplain in the first place? Like, does the accounting program need a chaplain as well?
Sports is hard.
I think they're being targeted. I really, they're talking about, this is I can't remember the name of the organization that organizes basketball chaplains, but it is an organization that does this, and their logo includes a cross in it. So it's Christians only. And I think it's just like, we talk a lot about on this show how there are grade school and high school predators who are employed by churches whose entire job is to bring young people in And I think this is just, you have Christian coaches who are receptive to the messages of these Christian organizations who are like, you need a chaplain. And that's all it is.
It's part of that mythos of good American citizens play sports and believe in God. And by golly.
I mean, well, one thing that does concern me, though, is like, if you're, young basketball athlete or football or whatever sport they're playing, and you don't pray with the rest of the team, then, like, potentially, the coach could say, like, oh, you didn't, pray with us, so I guess you're just going to be sitting on the bench this game,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And Kill Humanity in the chat room just noted, the kid who objected would be put on the bench so quick, and he would be the water boy so fast. I mean, that's exactly what would happen. It's in-group, out-group stuff, and you would be out-group, bad for morale so quickly.
Yeah. You're not part of the team.
Right.
Obviously. You're not praying with us, then you are not part of the team.
No, I still think there should be accounting clergy people.
Having taken...
Maybe we could have avoided Enron, right?
Having taken many accounting classes, I frequently wished for a deity who could have helped me through those. That would have been
I'm sure
amazing.
there's some, like, Greek god of math. In fact, I'm looking that up right now because I really want there to be, like, a Greek god of math.
Parentheses or something.
Oh, dude. I hate you so much right now. That is the worst thing I've ever heard. Parentheses, the Greek god of math. Oh my god. Anything?
Goodness. I'm getting there. Apollo, maybe.
Are you on like AT&T or what?
I'm on Verizon. Shut up.
I assume that maybe there's like a Greek god of like logic and reason potentially.
Well, there was Apollo, who was like intellect
and learning and things.
And Athena, who was the goddess of wisdom.
I'm so bored by this.
Probably. Fuck you.
I was hoping there was going to be a payoff, but there's totally not.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right. So before we move on, I want to remind everyone of some upcoming events. Our children's book a-thon donation drive is going really well. We've got I think with the donations that we got this evening, I think we've pushed beyond 500 books for children, mostly of laborers on the King Ranch down here in Kingsville, Texas.
Where did you get 500 books from?
Generous atheists.
Yes.
Well, like was it like 500 different atheists that gave you one book, or
there's me, there's Amanda, there is Jacob, and there was Heather. I think those are the four who've. If I'm forgetting someone, I'm so sorry. But between the four of us, we have come up with over 500 books.
Jeez.
Yay.
Right?
It's a crap ton of paper.
Yay, knowledge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was it just like sitting around your house in big boxes?
I actually went to Half Price today.
I did too.
with the express purpose of getting books on like sexuality for adolescents.
Yeah, and she's got like the mother load of these books.
I was so excited.
I don't think these books, because the people who are working on this ranch are primarily low income, uneducated Catholic Mexican people. And so, one of the books she had, includes, talking about, homosexual feelings and how to examine your own vulva. That is going to survive one young person reading it.
I just want it to be in the library so they can know.
Well, are they going to do like a filtering on the books? Like you put the God delusion in there? They're going to be like, let's just not put this in a library.
When I went to Half Price Books, and I literally just decimated their clearance section. I bought every single book that wasn't the science of creationism, and there was a lot of that crap there.
Yeah.
A lot.
It took me a solid hour to find 2 books that were non-shamey, body positive, sex positive books for adolescents. 2 whole books in the entire store. I asked them for like, hey, do you have like Our Bodies Ourselves? And they're like, so like feminist stuff? And I was like, well, no, it's just kind of for people.
for really anybody with a vagina.
Yeah, I was just like, what? No, it's just knowledge.
It's biology.
I know. It was just like, what? So yeah, but I found two whole books that hopefully stay in the library
Yeah.
and are accessible for young women who are looking for.
I was telling
how
Amanda
do you
before
not get pregnant.
I was telling Amanda before the show that my only dream is that there's going to be one child who gets access to one of these books who later down the road said, you know, the only reason my head is screwed on correctly is because of this book I had in the library, and then my mom took it and burned it after I was finished reading
Pretty
it.
much.
But
Yeah.
this is why I'm not pregnant and whatever.
Well, like, who's maintaining the library?
Good question. I don't know. So it's a Girl Scout who is doing this as her Gold Star project, and it's going to include summer and accelerated reading programs. But for that to count for her badge or her award or whatever that
It's the
is,
Girl Scout Gold Award.
right?
It's
So
the equivalent of the Eagle Scout.
oh, okay, I didn't know that. So, but it has to be sustainable. So I do not know. I've talked to her mother and not to her, so I don't know how it is being sustained, but it is in some way. So that's awesome. I think that's really. What else is coming up? You have something with guerrilla gardening coming up, don't you?
May 1st is International Sunflower Guerrilla Gardening Day, and since May 1st is a Friday, and that would be awkward to try and get everybody together like in the evening, I decided we're just going to do it Saturday, May 2nd. So we're going to meet at Lauritama Park downtown.
That's lame. That's not the day.
Yeah, and you keep scheduling on days I'm not here, and so I can never come.
That's the goal, Reb.
It all makes sense now. I get it. I get
right.
it.
Just give us your schedule.
That's
Right before
Yeah.
just now, Reb was just like, it's so weird. They're always scheduling things around. It's almost like they don't want me around.
I hacked your Google Calendar, and I'm planning things around it, yes. Anyway, so Saturday, May 2nd, 10 a.m., Lauritama Park. I will have sunflower seeds and compost, and we will go around downtown and plant sunflower seeds. Yay!
Hooray.
And the Abortion Funds Bowl-a-thon is this
yeah.
week. It's this Sunday. If you have not donated already, I will post another link to our donation page.
How close are you to $1,000? Have you met it yet?
We're very close. I know that I personally am $75 from my $300 goal.
Someone out there has $75 that you can give to Amanda.
Already gave Petey money, so
Yeah.
too bad.
So go to the Atheist Airwaves Facebook page. You will find a link to Amanda's page where you can give her $75 or some amount that, you know, among a few of you might add up to $75.
Yay!
And this goes to Lilith Fund, which is access.
Yeah, it's the Central Texas partner of the National Network of Abortion Funds, and so they.
That doesn't mean anything to me. What does that do?
The National Network of Abortion Funds is obviously a national organization that helps people pay for their abortion care.
And why do people need that?
Because first, it's an expensive procedure. Second, because it is expensive in days that you have to take off of work and travel. As they continue to close more and more clinics, it becomes harder for people to access the care that they need.
I'm so depressed when I drive by the clinic that used to be here in Corpus Christi. I'm so
Yeah.
depressed when I go over there.
Yeah. And yeah, they're throwing a fit in San Antonio because Planned Parenthood is complying with the laws, and they are building a ambulatory surgical center, and it complies with all of their regulations. And now they're saying, how dare they build this huge abortion factory?
Did anyone see that Onion article? It was probably a couple of years ago about the abortion complex. It was like a super mall or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
people thought it was
absolutely.
real. Yes.
It was so amazing. It's like, you know, there's like, you know, rides you can go on, and
Yeah, and I think it even said like we can abort women who aren't even pregnant or something. It was like, really? You think this is real?
and people in Texas were outraged about this. Oh, it was so glorious.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then also we have the art walk on May 1st.
Oh yeah.
So
if you're here locally in Corpus Christi or nearby, and you're like, I don't know about those people, come to Art Walk downtown. It's on People's Street. We will have another booth there this month, and you can kind of make a blow by just to see, okay, are these people normal? Are they crazy?
No.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. But are they my kind of crazy? And then you can come over and talk to us, and we'll be friends. It'll be awesome.
Yay!
I won't be there though, so.
Yay!
Which is which is how we planned it. All right. So we have more news from the Alliance Defending Freedom. They have filed a federal lawsuit against the IRS, who settled with the Freedom from Religion Foundation. This episode is all Andrew Seidel versus the forces of evil. That's what this is. The IRS finally agreed to investigate churches who violate the rules relating to their political activities as it relates to their tax-free status. The ADF is seeking information regarding the deal, and the IRS has been stonewalling them and ignoring Freedom of Information Act requests from the ADF. Can anyone think of a compelling reason to keep the details of that arrangement between the IRS and the FFRF secret? I mean...
No, I think the ADF has a legitimate case. I mean,
I kind of do too.
I mean, the Freedom from they already know what the deal is. Obviously, the IRS knows what the deal is. I mean, it's a government organization, so that information should be public. And if it's a good deal that's, constitutionally, sound, then FFRF has nothing to fear, and the IRS should have nothing to fear.
They probably asked for more than settlement documents on this. They probably asked for a lot of, a lot of things that would be privileged, and would be work product.
What do you think would be privileged in that?
Well, I think that the attorneys. The attorneys working on it and advising the IRS would be writing all kinds of different memos. There would be emails going out that had stuff specifically to do about the case and about their position and all the rest. Stuff that they probably didn't want out. If they were asking just for the settlement documents, that's a different deal. But the settlement documents would not be that hard to get.
Yeah, and they are asking for more than that. They are asking for any correspondence and stuff. The ADF is sitting there, and I think this is where they're being dishonest, because obviously the ADF is going to be dishonest about this stuff. But they're saying that, we're just asking for the exact same things the FFRF asked for, and that's all. And I don't believe that. The IRS responded to their FOIA request and said, you've asked for too much. And so there is in the law, we're able to say this is going to take us longer and we can get a 10-day extension. So they took advantage of that. And then they said in the same letter, so after they said, okay, we're going to wait till September 11th, we're going to take our thing. And then after that, we're still going to need another 2.5 weeks. So it's not going to be till the end of September that we're going to be able to get this back to you. And in the letter, they say, you can feel free to file suit after the September 11th deadline. Because you can do that. I kind of feel like they're going to comply, and by the time, even if the ADF files suit, it's going to be a moot point by the time it gets in front of any judge.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. It's them going up there acting like, here we are just trying to be on the equal footing with the atheists. And they're not allowing us to be. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, they probably won't produce everything.
Well, what kind of privileged information would...
There are lots of exceptions to any FOIA request. And it just depends. I mean, like the information between IRS folks and any outside counsel, anything like that, there's going to be a lot of things that are work product and that they're not required to produce. Mm-hmm.
This is going to be kind of off topic and kind of really locally concerned, but this whole thing made me think of the deal going on between the city of Corpus Christi and LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens. Corpus Christi gave them $400,000 a few years ago to create a low-income housing complex, which they never did, and they're never going to. And then the city went to them and said, well, we gave you almost $500,000, guys. And they ended up settling, but they made it secret. How much money they were getting back from LULAC is completely secret. And it struck me as being very similar.
Well, the city ledgers would show, like, we received this much money from LULAC, wouldn't it? I mean,
I
that's public accounting, right? Like, oh, we received dollars from somebody.
I don't know. But they're appealing it to up the state chain. But my point is, there are ways to appeal this stuff. You know, if someone doesn't give you all the information you want, there are usually public access officers of some kind who will be the arbiters of that and say, yes, you must give over this information. This is inappropriately withheld, or no, this is privileged information and you don't have to do that. I'm really interested in the local issue, in how much of a break they gave these people. The taxpayers gave them $500,000 and got nothing.
Yeah.
And how much of that money are we just saying, okay, you can just keep it?
It might have been, blood out of a turnip kind of situation, potentially.
It probably is. I've seen some of the same stuff, and there were people who ended up taking over some of the LULAC entities who were just developers, and they got federal funds, state funds, local funds, and put it in their pockets and ran. And I helped represent some of the LULAC board members who were trying to take over these entities afterwards, and there's nothing left in the coffers.
Yeah.
I mean,
unfortunate.
It was some people in San Antonio and other places that just a mess. And I mean, they really did. They stole millions of dollars.
Yeah, and our entire city government. Okay, this may be unfair because
no,
I feel like our entire city government is founded around real estate developers using our government to make money.
I
absolutely,
I agree with that.
I can't look at it any other way, and we put up with it. We reelect the same stupid people, and they're all real estate people, all of them.
Well, that little shitty water park underneath the bridge wasn't it like a direct result of their shit? Yeah.
All of it is money that they make. It's all, and they zone it the way that they want it done. They do it for the developers, and they take their turn being mayor, and they do whatever else, and make millions and millions and millions of dollars doing it.
We're really far afield now, but I'm really angry about that. I can't imagine this is unique to Corpus Christi.
Well, besides activating a good voter base, what would be the remedy to that?
Activating a good voter base. I think
that's never going to happen, though.
I don't.
It's all who you know.
Yeah.
It really is.
I also feel like it costs more money to run for an office like mayor in this town than it pays. There is no incentive to want to be mayor unless you think you're going to make a killing in the
while you're in office.
Right.
Yeah. There was a woman who ran for city council this last term, and she spent literally millions of dollars in her race for a job that pays like less than $100,000 a year.
Yeah. Why would you do that unless you think you're going to get something more out of it? And that's what our politics is about. This is why, and this has nothing to do with anything this show is about, but that's why we have to get the money out of our goddamn elections.
Well, maybe that lady was just really dedicated to that.
Oh,
idea
go
of public
fuck yourself,
service.
Red.
Or the president of a title company.
Or that,
One
dedicated to the
of those.
idea of her title company, whatever.
One of those.
All right, let's shut it down for the night.
She was the good conservative. That was her campaign slogan. She was the conservative. Yeah.
All the conservatives are
not
good.
like all those liberals on our city council.
Right.
Yeah.
Mother. Thank you for listening to Atheist Airwaves, sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheist and the South Texas Coalition of Reason. If you would like to compliment, complain, or make a suggestion, please write to us at god@atheistairwaves.com. Thank you to Tombstone the Dead Man for our outro music. And if you would like to support our show, patreon.com/Atheist Airwaves. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
There a skeptic means so much more than being an atheist. And until you accept that, you won't relate to this. The cognitive dissonance that you experience is when there's things you claim to believe in but ain't living it. Most of you say you are the type to question everything until I hear the conspiracy theories that you echoing. And when I scrutinize the things you try to say are lies, expose your sources as suspect, I see your logic dies. Some still believe in pseudosciences, engage in special pleading when theists use the exact same reasoning. I've even seen atheists use arguments from ignorance and seem hard pressed to tell me exactly just what the difference is. A skeptic without the ability to analyze is just as bad as a theist, cause he'll probably accept a lie. Just as long as it verifies all his biases, applying it to his knowledge pool, and then he's diving in. So I'm not saying that some conspiracies do not exist. I'm just saying that a lot of them are some bullshit. So I'ma call a spade no matter who asserts that nobody's perfect, and just one lie, then it's all perverted. Bring down the curtains on that sad display. The only ways to question yourself and all the things you say. Start the day, and maybe we can rise above and be examples for others to emulate, and that's the way we win this battle. So this is where I'm making my stand, and now regardless who don't like it or how they get mad, see why the rest of y'all capitulate and go with the plan. I'll be beating on this wall until I'm breaking my hand. So listen while I state official policy. No matter how I'm threatened with hell, then never silence me. I know that you don't see this as imperative, but I refuse to lose and let the stupid frame the narrative.
Judeo-Christian tradition in this country.
I feel like this is going to be a boring post show until Amanda comes back to talk to us about vulvas.
Vulvas, yeah, definitely.